CrossFit Games Open 25.1 is here. We have a 15-minute AMRAP of burpees over the dumbbell hang clean to overhead with that same single dumbbell, and then we have unweighted walking lunges. The reps will go up on the burpees and the clean and jerks or clean to overheads by 3 each round, and the walking lunges will stay the same. They're 30 feet each time, 15 feet one way, 15 feet back. If you're watching this video, it means that you simply couldn't wait to do the workout on Saturday and you have to do it on Friday. That is absolutely fine. We have some quick tips for you. We also have the warm-ups ready on the website for you, and you can also read what I'm talking about with a little bit more detail in there as well. So let's get into it. First, make sure you pay attention to the standards, starting facing away from the dumbbell. Don't get a penalty for that. You also don't have to do a 2-foot takeoff or landing on the burpees, which is nice. You do have to get over the dumbbell though. Don't go behind or in front of it. On the lunges, make sure that you get the rep each time. If you get a no rep, you have to redo the whole lunge. And on the cleans, you can start that first rep from the ground. You don't have to go to the hang position specifically. And also, you can change hands however you want. Make sure you read all the standards before you start to make sure. Okay, so once we start to break this workout down, the key thing to understand is that 15 minutes is a long time. I'd like you to think about this workout like a 5K run. You wouldn't start with a sprint if you're going to run a 5K, and it's the same thing in here. Those first few rounds are deceptive. They are short. You want to go fast, but you're not going to gain anything from going super fast unless you're someone like Austin Hatfield who can just keep pushing that pace all the way through. Compare him to Rich Frowning, who had a great score, but he started way slower and just kept that pace from the beginning. Depending on the analysis, we'll get that a little bit later on. Now, one thing I want you to realize also is that the reps will start to accumulate. So if you're targeting, for example, 7 rounds, by the time you get somewhere through that 5th round, not quite finishing it, you're only halfway to those repetitions. So each progressive round is obviously going to be a significantly bigger round as you get into this, and it's going to get more grindy, especially on those burpees and on that dumbbell. So just be aware of that when you pace. Think of the 5K. Now, a good way to think about that pacing is, can I breathe? If you are not able to breathe in these movements, it means that you're moving too fast. You're forcing the movement. You want to stay as relaxed as you can for these 15 minutes. Now, for the specific movements on the burpees, the key thing is to find a way to keep moving. For most people, that's going to be either flop, drop down and step up, or step down and step up. Jumping up is going to be reserved for those select few who have really the engine to back that up, but for most people, just finding a steady rhythm and good breathing with that step up is really going to be the key. You have that line for the lunges. Make sure you use that to have a steady hand placement each time you go down on the burpee, so you are not all over the place, and it's easier to make sure that you're actually getting over the dumbbell as you do so. Now, remember, you don't need to do the 2-foot takeoff, but you do need to have both feet in the air at the same time. You can't step over the dumbbell. Now, on the dumbbell hang clean to overhead, it is going to be faster to keep the dumbbell on the same side for the whole set. So especially when you do 3, just do it with a single arm. Then when you get to 6, you could do 3 and 3. When you get to 9, you could do 5 and 4, starting with your better or stronger side. And then from there, you might go 6 and 6. And at some point, that breakdown doesn't make sense for you anymore. Then you can start with the good arm, so to speak, do a set with the other one, and then go back to the stronger arm to finish potentially, or start to chop it down into smaller and smaller sets until you have to alternate. The alternating, while it gives you a chance to recover, get some blood flow between each repetition, is going to also require more coordination, and it might get trickier as you go. It might also end up being more taxing for your grip, and those longer rest periods that you get when you do a bigger set on single arm is going to be also, it's going to feel nice in this workout. I do recommend that you start to change things around a little bit sooner than you feel like you have to, so you don't get too close to failure on a single arm and then get into trouble. Make sure you use your hips and leg drive on the movement, especially going from shoulder to overhead, because that tricep fatigue with the burpees is going to start to accumulate across the workout, and you're going to have much more endurance in those legs and hips than you will do on your triceps and your deltoids. Now, it goes without saying that you want to keep the feet wide and go between the legs. You don't want to go outside of the legs on those cleans. Now, for the lunges, really use these lunges for recovery. That means that you want to step up each rep. You don't need to try to step through, just step. You're going to get a little blood flow in your legs. Keep your arms and shoulders relaxed. You can even shake them off, get some blood flow in the upper body as well. Use the lunges for recovery for almost everyone. This is going to be a better strategy than try to push the pace on the lunges to gain a second or two, and then just be more winded and less recovered when you get back to the real meat of the workout, which is going to be those burpees and the hang clean to overheads. The distance is quite short, which means not only that the rushing is not going to pay off, but it means that you want to find a good rhythm, and that might be easier if you have some kind of a rep count, like Roman was doing 4 steps, and then Austin was doing more steps. So you might have an idea of, okay, I'm going to get 6 steps every time, so it's 6 and 6, and that gives you a rhythm and something that you can refer back to. If you start to veer off from that, you might be getting maybe too fatigued, and you might need to adjust, breathe, and recover, relax a little bit more on those lunges. So one more thing, I was about to say this is it, but one more thing, the knee sleeves for this workout, nice idea to make it feel better on the knees, but also make sure that they're not so tight that they restrict blood flow into your legs and you start to feel heavy because of your knee sleeves. That would be silly. Okay, that's it for now. Just some quick tips. Remember, think of a 5K run as a pacing strategy. And we're going to have more tips, more strategy coming up tomorrow for those who are going to do the workout on Saturday. If you're hitting it on Friday, good luck.